supposed to speak through this thing?
I don't know.
What do you do normally? Do you cheer? Because the cheers are on. The cheers will be on. The cheers were on. Hey, welcome to Diamond Cast.
Is it? Are we doing it now? Is this?
Yeah, this is it.
This is
it,
okay.
yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Okay. Hello.
Okay.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
What are you drinking, Ben?
I'm drinking decaffeinated coffee with oat milk through a straw.
Is it hot or cold?
It is. It was hot, and now I think it's like 70% of the heat that it was previously.
So you're drinking tepid coffee flavoured milk with a straw?
Yeah, there's no caffeine, and it's oat milk, and it's through a straw. So any of your hardcore Jack Kerouac style black Americano in the diner types would probably be mortified that I'm even calling this coffee.
Oh, it's all right. It's not like you're writing a beatnik novel, so...
Well, true. So it's actually quite on brand for me.
Yeah. Can I ask about the straw or not?
You can ask about the straw. I started drinking through the straw because I drink quite a lot of decaf coffee. If I'm at home, I will sometimes drink 4 or 5 cups a day. It's a bit of a habit thing. It's sitting down to do a new piece of work. I feel like I need the cup. It's something I'd like to break, but it's not so devastatingly detrimental that I feel like it's a problem. But it's
okay to have a habit that's not damaging.
Yeah. So the straw, one, makes it more fun. But it also alleviates me getting really like stained teeth by drinking coffee all the time. So
I actually got my teeth whitened once, and they said to me I'm not allowed to drink coffee or any drinks that have colour in them or fizz. So that was most things out.
Oh, wow. So that's like really depressing then, isn't it? It's like you can't drink anything fun.
Well, like for the first 6 weeks or 4 weeks or something? Because whatever they do to it, the teeth, they wanted it to stay kind of set or something. I can't remember what it was, but they said you had to not eat curry, not eat anything with spices, or like heavy tomato, and yeah. So I just drank vodka and lemonade.
There you go. The vodka diet. That's vodka. The answer. Yeah, clear. Perfect. So yeah, my dentist my dentist advised me to use a straw, particularly because one of my teeth down here is a bit set back. So it means that it's more likely to get really stained. So yeah, that's why I do it. It's for aesthetic purposes.
Lovely. Do you find they disintegrate though?
Yes, so because obviously it's paper straws.
Yeah.
Right, kids. And as a
Turtles
consequence,
are all right though.
Exactly. So as a consequence, I do have to buy a packet of multicolored straws every month or so. But the packet has 30 or so in, so it goes the distance.
What's been really annoying me lately is I've been working on my novel in cafes, and I don't drink hot, I like to drink iced drinks, and I always order an iced drink, and they always give it to me with a straw, and by the time I'm writing, so I'm not drinking it all the time, and then I get to drink it, and then the straw has turned to mulch, and you can't actually drink as much of a sip as you could before, and then it tastes like mulch. So I have taken to like resting the straw on top of the cup, with the end of it sticking out, so it doesn't actually disintegrate. But it annoys me.
You keep it like that until...
No, not quite. Like because it rolls off, like you just did. But like, kind of like this.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's resting like that.
I think you could patent something there. I think there's a window in the market that you could...
A straw holder.
Yeah, a stroller.
A stroller. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah, because it's obviously a needed thing. And what's the other option? Metal straws, which feels like a bit dangerous, doesn't it?
Tastes like metal.
Yeah, that's true as well.
And you have to take it with you wherever you go, and then you have to wash it.
And then you walk around with a metal straw, which it feels like it could be a weapon.
That's not a bad thing. Maybe you can self-defend yourself if anyone attacked you.
True. And
can't get to gigs, though.
Yeah, that's true. So you're wearing a fantastic outfit today.
Thank you.
I feel like there's some good witchy vibes going on here. And it prompted me to think, I reckon you could make an incredible coffee table book of all of the outfits that you've had across however many casts it is now, above 60 or whatever. Maybe it should be a celebration of the 100th, is that we release a book
100
that has 100 outfits across 100 casts, because you always have a really cool, different, well-coordinated look for every time we do this. Yeah, I reckon there's a market for it.
I think I've only worn the same thing twice, but what I'll do, and that was when I pointed it out last week, or a few weeks ago, when I said that I'm wearing the jacket from the first episode. But yeah, I think I always go to the wardrobe and I'm like, what haven't I put on the cast yet? So I hope I've only worn the same thing twice, but we'll see if I can do it. If I get to 100 without wearing the same combination or look twice, that's my goal. Now you've set me on one, so
it could be quite a fun thing. You could be within this 100. There is 2 days that match. Can you figure out which they are?
Yeah, and whoever wins the jacket.
Yeah, or whatever it was that you were wearing that day.
Now I just told you.
But you got loads of jackets. Yeah. I've seen a glimpse of your wardrobe. In terms of, I think you've got a whole bunch of stuff in the corridor, right?
Yeah, our wardrobe is a corridor, right? So my wardrobe is just a long corridor with clothes on either side of it.
Incredible. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I like it. It's getting a bit full now. I'm going to need to start selling some things to make room for new things. But yeah, I probably buy too many clothes.
How much, percentage-wise, how much would you say your wardrobe falls into the category of different subgenres of alternative fashion, and how much of it is when you need to do like a smart thing?
I never need to do a smart thing.
Or do you somehow, if you do a smart thing, do you make it an alternative smart thing? Nice.
If I do a smart... I used to work in a job that was quite sort of corporate feminine. So everybody dressed in kind of brightly coloured suits and, things that kind of female leaders wear. So it wasn't too corporate, it wasn't too sort of uniform, but it was more like... lots of floral dresses and like things like that, which are not really things I would naturally wear. So I've got that side of the wardrobe, which doesn't really get worn now.
It's a very dark corner, like right at the back.
The bright corner. The rest
the dark bright corner.
Yeah, no, that's. I've sold a few of them though. They sell quite well on the internet. So,
nice.
I can't recommend enough to sell clothes and buy clothes secondhand. Like I always do that. Most of my clothes are not first hand. So,
where do you sell your clothes?
Vinted.
Oh, okay. So that's a really good site for both buying and selling.
Yes, really good for buying and selling. And you can get things, for really cheap. You can sell, like, if I need a quick 100 quid, it's quite a good way of getting a quick 100 quid. Just have some extra money.
That's cool.
Yeah, they don't pay you until you've sent the thing off, so you have to get your things sent out quickly. But it's very good, and if you want to collect things from the past, which I like doing. So if you, like Ben, you love your old T-shirts, and you love your vintage original T-shirts and things like that, it's a really good place to go and find them and harvest them. I've been collecting Star Trek ones, but if you are a collector like me, and like you are, I'm sure, in this category, it's a great place to go and find things like that, because you will always come across authentic ones. You can tell which ones are real and which ones are modern prints as well.
That's cool. And when you sell a bunch of stuff, do you do it one item at a time, or do you try and club a bunch of stuff together? The reason I ask there is, from experience, I know that sometimes the whole going to the post office thing can be quite laborious, and if you could condense that into one trip rather than 5.
Doesn't always work that way, but it's better for the algorithm if you've got lots of things on recently rather than just one. So the algorithm will see you as like someone who's put loads of stuff on there, so it'll show you some more people. But for the post office, I mean, I put things on there a year ago, still haven't sold. I've put things on there yesterday night, 2 of them have sold already.
Oh, nice. So do they sometimes come up as a surprise, like, oh, I sold that thing suddenly that I put on 6 months ago? And it can be like a nice...
The algorithm will kind of bury you if you don't keep up interaction with it. So it's kind of like, if you want to put some stuff on, put 20 things on at once. That's my advice.
Nice.
And maybe 15 of them will get sold.
Good advice. Good advice there.
And if you've got lots of people interested in what you've put on, you can offer them a discount. So I always put my things on like a couple of pounds more than I want. And then when people are interested in it, then I offer them a discount, and it feels like to them they think they're getting a good deal. So I get what I want, and they feel like they've got a discount.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, so if you need some extra money and you've got some old bits lying around, go and sell them on Vinted. Or I don't know what the equivalent in the US would be. Probably, I don't know if you have Vinted in the US, but
Write in,
Yeah.
let us know, do you?
yeah, I'm sure they do.
They do, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Or some equivalent. Are you always sending
Yeah.
stuff to the UK, or is it sometimes to
Yeah,
Europe?
it's always UK. Always
Okay,
UK.
cool. That's helpful.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Cool. So there you go. So if you fancy, it's like a big thrift store, but imagine that you walk into a thrift store and you're like, oh, I have to look around for everything. I have to go through every single thing to find, like, especially want t-shirts. This one, you can just type in what you want, and then a whole bunch of the things come up that you want. It's like what you want.
Nice.
So I think that's really good. Problem is, it's really bad if you just want to, like, you're like, oh, I'll have that. It's like £4. So you think that's, nothing. And then you've got like 8 new things. It's like, oh, whoops. So, yeah.
All adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit, you got to be careful.
Be careful, kids.
Be careful. It's another one of those little dopamine hits, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
right. That was a nice slurp.
Thanks.
So we had a lot of questions based on last week's episode from the lovely Diamond Bats on Discord, and just wondered if we could go through some of them. And sorry, Adam's distracted me by walking like this. Adam, wave. I mean, don't wave, but tell everyone where you are.
I'm not playing today. Sorry I can't be here this week. I'm not telling you why.
Why can't you be here this week?
I've got a big spot on the end of my nose. So I'm hiding.
If
That's remarkable.
he's got a big spot on the end of his nose. How big of a spot do you have to have on the end of your nose to not want to appear on
It's not
camera?
Christmas. I don't know what to do.
Well, yeah, I said to him yesterday, Christmas is 6 months away. Like, what are you doing? It's not
Is
even
that a
6,
br-
it's more than that.
Is that a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer
Yeah.
reference? That's 3
Yeah, so yeah, Adam's spot will not be making an appearance, which is probably just as well, because, you wouldn't.
It's not going to do a
see his
guest
face
spot
anyway.
then.
That's good. That's good. Shit, I can't think of one.
Splendid.
Cool. So yeah, so it's just going to be me talking to Ben about last week's episode, thanks to you guys' questions. So
Thanks, guys.
yeah, but these are great questions, and these are questions that Ben is prepared to answer and is going to answer in due course. So first of all, we've got Andy Crimson, who says, how do you decide which song gets the vocal feature collab treatment? And also asks, is there a dream collab vocal feat or writing collab on your list?
Okay, so firstly, there are two ways that could happen. One is, who could we realistically approach? Like, who do we actually have some sort of line or connection to? Even it might be someone that we've directly met or worked with in the past, or it might be someone that we came into contact with briefly, or we by proxy might know them. So that's the first, like, who do we actually know, who we think we'd like to get involved generally? And then once we contact someone and they decide, we can think, oh, okay, well, what song would their style work on? And as we said last week, a really important thing here was, don't try and shoehorn them into the song. Try and get them to bring what they do to the song, and therefore choose a song that works on. So with the Andy Cairns from Therapy collab, I thought, what song really suits his very inimitable, sinister voice that he uses on a lot of the work, where it's got this kind of darkness and this edge and this vulnerability to it. And I thought of this particular song that we worked on together because the verses had a very kind of dark, lo-fi, sinister, almost Nine Inch Nails kind of vibe to them. And I thought, yeah, he'd sound really, really good on that. The funny thing was, when we were writing the song, we kind of cited this kind of sounds like Nine Inch Nails meets Manic Street Preachers. The verse was very Nine Inch Nails and the chorus was very Manics. And then, having not said anything about that to Andy, he said the same thing when he heard it, and we thought that was really cool that we'd identified that those were definitely the flavors in there. And there's a sort of full circularity then, because when I first discovered therapy, I discovered Nine Inch Nails at the same time and Manic Street Preachers around about the same time. So those three bands came into my orbit round about the same time as a teenager. So it was quite cool to be one of them's featured on a song that sounds like the other two. That's one way is you think, who do I know? Who could I realistically approach? And then what song would they be able to really be themselves on? And the other way is, would this song work well as a duet? So sometimes when you've got a power ballad and it's about a relationship, having two different voices on there that could represent the different sides of that could be really effective. And then you would think, okay, well, who do we know who we think would be able to do that effectively? And who could we approach? So that's another principle that can work. And those, for me, those, in my experience, those are the two main processes. And it brought me onto something that I think we've talked about before, which was having on the album and on previous work, we've generally on most songs had a female vocal doing harmonies to create the sense of a whole spectrum of voices and having that higher voice. We had obviously we had Chloe on a number of the songs. We had Anita on a number of the songs as well. And when we came to this album, we've been working with a really great girl called Rachel. And when it came to doing the session with Rachel, I was like, let's just do every song because we can. And Yanni
Who's Rachel?
So Rachel is a really great singer who lives in the north, and she's done backing vocals on a number of the album songs. And I wanted to just do every song, and then Yanni said, "Well, no, actually, be selective here because," and this was quite insightful. He said, does having a female voice on this song fit in with the story of the song? Is the protagonist in a counterpoint discussion with someone else, or are they very much alone? Are they very isolated? And therefore, we could go through the songs and say, actually, this is a song where the protagonist is very isolated, and there is the other to whom he's expressing the song is absent and is not there and is not even aware that he's expressing these emotions. So therefore, let's not have any presence of the other in the song. And I thought that was quite an insightful way of Yanni, which often is how he does things, of looking at what is the story of the song before we decide what instruments we're using or who we're putting on it.
That makes sense, because then it creates the believable world around the song. If the protagonist is alone, then to have someone else's voice might not necessarily be obvious to people listening to it, but there might be something disconcerting about it. There might be. I don't know. I don't know if other artists do that or consider that.
Yeah, and it was a really kind of deep insight into kind of what are the aesthetics that we're using. It's a bit like if you're shooting a film and your story is about this, are you therefore going to use this particular landscape or setting or scene for it? Does it suit the feeling and the emotion of the story? And in this instance, we're choosing instruments and people and layers that benefit the emotion behind the story that we're telling. And that particular song where Yanni said don't use a female voice was a song that is very, very isolated. And in fact, the lyric is, there's nobody there to haunt you, which is the idea that you are completely isolated and from anything else, even memories of another person. So, So is that good or bad? There's no one there to haunt you, because haunt is a bad thing. Well, it was that was a lyric that just sort of came out of the ether, and I kind of grappled with it for a while because I thought, what does that even really mean? And then I realised that it could mean that if it's essentially the protagonist is saying to the other person I'm no longer even on your mind, in your orbit. I'm no longer haunting you at all. I am completely absent from your life now. And that was the idea of this feeling so isolated.
Interesting. So there you go. It's a great answer to that question. How do you decide which song gets the treatment for the collabs? So it's got to be something where the song is about the person, the protagonist, being with other people and not going into isolation, right? That's
that's certainly how we approached it on this one. Even though the songs that do have a female voice on and that are about relationships, there's still an idea of it being disconnection, but the other is present somehow in the song, in the story.
Great. Cool. And is there a dream collab vocal feature or writing collab you like?
I think for a lot of people, when they think, what are the dream collaborations I'd like to do? It's often, who are the people that really set me on my journey in the first place? So those bands for me would be Def Leppard and The Cult and Judas Priest. And if I were ever to work with anyone from any of those bands, it would be like, wow, this is insane, to have had that full circle of the people who made me want to start writing and playing are now working with me, like, because those are the core influences from like before I was even 10 years old. And it's interesting because have you heard the Blink 182 song that features Robert Smith from The Cure? They did it on the I can't remember the name of it, but they did it on the 2003 album, the one that I think is just called Blink 182, and it's got Feeling This on it and Stockholm Syndrome.
All of this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had that album, so I've definitely heard it, but let me see if I can remember it. Oh, yeah. I know the song, yeah.
And
It's quite a slower pace compared to their normal stuff.
yeah, so and that album is the first one I think where they actually started looking in different directions musically as well, and that song epitomizes that different pace and different shade. They said that when they did that song with Robert Smith, because they were such huge fans, they just were like kids. They couldn't believe that his voice was on their song. So even Blink 182, who in 2003 were like on top of the planet, they were still completely humbled and floored by the idea of someone else that they admired so much being on their song. I think it really takes you back to a sense of childhood wonder, and excitement of, oh my God, Robert's on our song. And yeah, so therefore I think that that's such a powerful thing, that regardless of where you are in your career, the people who got you on your journey in the first place will always be extremely important to you.
Yeah, I think also like everyone who's a fan, who's not famous or not in the industry, is kind of like, there's us and then there's the music industry, and when you're in it, there's like steps of like fandom within that. So like everyone is always keen and eager to meet people. I think you've said this before at festivals and things like that, where you've seen other artists backstage, how you there are still people that like to meet other artists.
Yeah, totally. And you're still, it's a really odd dynamic, because you can be in the space where you have sort of earned your position to at least be in that zone, but you're still like, oh my God, this is the singer of Seven Dust, this is the singer of Papa Roach, and they're just there, and I could talk to them. That is really, really insane. And of course, it turns out so nicely when they actually turn out to be really great, and both of those guys did. You've got
loads of cool pictures with them, haven't you? Like different people that you've met on the travels.
And yeah, so there are people from bands who really influenced me in my early 20s that I now have some sort of connection with. The Therapy one is a great example, and that there is a conceivable possibility that I might be able to contact them and say, hey, do you want to sing on one of our songs? And they might go, yeah, all right, I like it, it's cool. And that's that's amazing. That's such a wonderful, wonderful thing. That even that there's the slightest possibility of it.
And the more you do as well, the more you release, the more that they'll be able to see the kind of body of work that you have as well. So they'll be able to understand a bit more about, you know, the different avenues you want to go down and the kind of music that you want to deliver in the future.
Yeah, and the more active I guess you are as a band, and the more you've done, the more they feel that it's actually exciting for them as well. Like when we see these older artists collaborating with up and coming artists, presumably it's because they feel that the up and coming artist is doing something exciting and vibrant, and they want to be involved. And as well as the fact that they want to be associated with something that is current and groundbreaking, which can often help refresh their persona within the industry of working with an up and coming younger artist.
Did you ask Andy what his motivations for working with you were?
No, he was just really down to earth, and he said, "I really like the song." In fact, he said the song is superb, which was really nice. I sent him what we'd done at that point, and then he was just very down to earth and said, "Yeah, I'd like to do it, and if we can figure out the logistics, then yeah, we'll make it happen." And he was really helpful in figuring out those logistics in terms of dates and studios, and the whole thing was just very calm. And
that's great as well, that he kind of took the lead on figuring out the logistics of it as well. It wasn't just like, yeah, I'll do it if you do all the stuff. It was like, actually, and I'll organize it.
Yeah, which felt really rewarding because it showed that he was invested in it actually happening, rather than it being like, yeah, cool, just if I can, whatevs. So, and the whole experience was like that. He was so easy to work with, and he really wanted to get it right, and he's doing all his vocal warm-ups, and he said, you know, make sure it's what you want, and let me know if you want me to do something differently. And so rather than this is how I do it, and you're lucky to even have me doing it. It was wicked.
That's great. I think we need more people like that, right? We need more people like that who are excited about, and like not just saying it, but actually genuinely excited about collaborating on up and coming artists' debut album, right? And to actually be so enthusiastic about it, to to want to put their creativity on it, and to work with you, and to make sure you get what you want out of it, rather than just kind of, you know, it being about them. It's about the thing you're making together. I think we need more artists like that.
Yeah, and he was really in the room for the whole experience. It wasn't like he was texting or like taking phone calls or on his laptop or whatever. He was, for the session, he was in the room, and we were doing it, and we were focused. And I really admired that about him, and I really admired that that he was so easy to work with and so down to earth. And I think that sort of humility and humble approach comes from years of really being in the industry and understanding that that everyone's just people, and we're all just trying to do a cool thing together, and there isn't this sense of any hierarchy in that sense of It just felt very down to earth, and we're just people making music, and we want it to be good.
Yeah, that's cool. What a pro.
Indeed.
I was just thinking how if it was the other way around, if your band asks you to collaborate with them, would that be something Diamond Black would be keen on doing at this point, or are you going to wait till you got your album out?
I think it's if you like the artist and you feel like it would be an exciting thing to do for everyone involved, then it's worth doing. Collaborations are a great way to expand the fan base of both parties, because you're both benefiting from each other's fan bases. And you
introduce the fan bases because most of the fan base probably don't know who the other one is as much, or if they do, then they're like excited that person's collaborating with the band that they like. So
Well, bands used to do it as split singles, where they would release a single and it'd be one band on one side, a different one on the other. That were off on the same label.
The label doing
So
it, yeah.
yeah, so that was a similar way of doing it.
It's a good way to do it. Okay, so we've got another question from Leah, which says, how do collaborations influence the sound and identity of Diamond Black? Now, I know you touched on this last week, but I think the identity part is interesting in that question. How do collaborators influence your band identity?
Well, I think the nice thing about the Lord of the Lost collaboration that we did was that I felt like they were, and they are, in the same lane as us in many ways when it comes to it being darker music, it being music with lyrics that have substance and meaning, and also there was a really good, that we noticed when we played with them, that there was a really good diversity to their audience, which we felt really worked with our music as well. And that we,
in what way?
Just like diversity of it being all sorts of different kinds of people, with maybe the through line being that all these people felt that at some point they'd been marginalized in some way by the mainstream, and that this was a safe place for them to be. Whatever it was that their sense of difference was, they felt safe in the Lord of the Lost show, in the Diamond Black show, and that came across when we met people afterwards as well, that we met all sorts of different kinds of people, and they just all felt like your music spoke to us. It made us feel like we were part of something, and we felt safe. And so Lord of the Lost were very much like that, their audience. Esprit were very much like that with their audience, and Birthday Massacre as well. So that similarity in terms of the identity that our band has of being a safe space for people who feel marginalized has been fortified by the collaborations that we've done with, whether that be a recorded collaboration or a live touring collaboration. So that identity has been fortified by those associations. And I think when we worked with a band like Lord of the Lost, it fed a bit more into the more electronic, darker side of our band, and opened up that audience a bit more from the more like arena rock, Ben rock side of the band. So
yeah, that's true actually. That you can definitely. I knew that you had that audience, but I couldn't pinpoint sort of when that audience sort of started to notice you. But now I can kind of see that, because I came to a couple of those shows as well and met loads of people, met loads of fans that were there for Lord of the Lost, and a lot of them are kind of still following you guys as well. So yeah, you can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that sort of, and the song that Chris collaborated on, it really, in Venom, it really suited his style as well. It really felt like he just dropped his vocal into that second verse, and it felt like it could have been a part of a Lord of the Lost song, whilst then the chorus was still very us. So yeah, that kind of, I'd say, widened the identity of the band in some musical ways, whilst fortifying a sense of our identity as a very inclusive band, because we've worked with these very inclusive other artists.
It's true. I just wanted to kind of tell people something, a thing that validates that a little bit as well, where you're talking about feeling safe in an alternative crowd. I was chatting to a colleague this week who isn't typically into alternative music and says it's not really her scene, and I hope she won't mind me telling this story. But she said that she feels there's an alternative kind of rock and metal pub in Camden that she says she really loves, and she's not my kind of music, but I love being there. I love how like everyone it just feels so non-judgmental. Everyone feels just like approachable, and that no one's gonna say anything to me or anything like that. It just feels like a really safe, lovely crowd. I said to her, welcome to the alternative community.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, she loves it. She said like, I didn't, it's not something she knew about before, but thanks to that pub, she got introduced to this new world, I guess.
Well, that's something we've talked about before, isn't it? The odd dichotomy of people who look really scary because they've got
Yeah.
like spikes and crazy makeup and stuff are actually the nicest people,
Yeah.
and the friendliest people who are inclusive like that.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Cool. Thank you for that one. The next question, that was Leah. Thank you very much, Leah. So the next question is from Kim. And she says, which classic collabs are your favourites? She said she just listened to George Michael a few days ago and his duets were so great with Elton John, Aretha Franklin and Mary J. Blige.
I'm going to hand this one over to you, Nat, because I couldn't really think off the top of my head of any collabs that I was like, oh yeah, I love that one. Have you got any that you really like?
Like Pendulum and The Prodigy.
So
I don't know. What do we think? We think, like classic ones, probably like Queen and David Bowie, Under Pressure.
Nice.
Those ones. Although it's not my favourite Queen song. No offence to David Bowie fans, but it's no Don't Stop Me Now, is it?
Oh, David Bowie did that one with Trent Reznor, didn't he? I'm Afraid of Americans. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have, yeah.
That's really good because it's the perfect marriage of both of those artists into something really exciting and engaging. And perhaps that's an example of, at that time, I think it was the mid-90s, Nine Inch Nails was really blowing up, and David might have been like, I want to get involved. This is wicked. At that point in his career of perhaps being regarded more as a pop artist, let's try and do something more edgy, and it really worked. Really worked.
I remember there was I went to see Linkin Park and Jay-Z at Milton Keynes Bowl because they did like a joint. I think they did a track together or something, and they did a joint show. And so I didn't realise some of these were collabs until... Oh, sorry, Adidas trousers out of the way. I didn't realise that some of these were actually collabs, but then when you think about it, so for example, Beat It by Michael Jackson's got Eddie Van Halen on guitar.
Oh, of course,
Which is incredible because that's one of my favourite Michael Jackson songs, if not my favourite, probably because of the guitars, always has been.
That was a gateway, I think, for a lot of people into Michael Jackson and maybe vice versa into Van Halen, because certainly for me as a kid, hearing that MJ song, I was like, this is amazing, much more so than anything else I'd heard by him, like, The Girl Is Mine or Pretty Young Thing or something. It was like, this rocks.
Yeah.
And the solo was so insane that it was, pretty mind-blowing. So I think that was such a cool and interesting move, that the decision that they made at that time.
Brilliant. And then there's a little bit in Zoolander where David Bowie dances to it on stage on a catwalk. When they do like a...
Wow, Inception.
Have you seen Zoolander?
I have, but I don't remember that.
One of the best movies. Like, it's one of the Millennium Glam era movies, so 2001. And Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson are like rival male models in the Millennium Glam male modelling scene. And David Bowie is a guest actor in it. And the Beat It comes on when he's like, when that thing came on, we're just like, yeah! Like, you hear the guitar. I don't know, I just like that. So that's definitely one of them. And then the other one that I actually did this, I sang this song for an audition once at school, which is Dead Ringer for Love by Meatloaf with Cher.
Oh, right. Is she in the original?
Yep. Her voice, she sings like the whole second verse.
I didn't blimmin' know that.
Because she sings they both like play off each other in the choruses and in the the bridge as well. They're singing to each other, so he's telling a story, and he's going to a bar and he's trying to find his like dead ringer for love, and then she's like, oh yeah, and you're perfect for me, and that kind of thing. It's like they found each other in a bar, and they're talking about how brilliant that is, that they're both the same kind of person that is looking for this kind of person in the bar.
That's great. And so I wonder where they both were then in their respective careers, whereby did they thought this would be a great collab? Was it influenced by those factors, or was it simply, I've always wanted to work with Cher, or I've always wanted to work with Meatloaf, and let's finally do it? Do you know roughly when it was?
Hang on, I will do.
Is it off the first album? Not the first album. I don't know what the first album is, but Out of Hell, in fact, the first album.
It's 1981.
Right. Okay. So Cher came to fame in the 60s, I think. So it could have been an interesting. Hey, let's see if we can sort of re-energize by associating her with someone who's more classic rock rather than a pop artist. I think Cher's been extremely good at that reinvention throughout the years, whether that be Turn Back Time, whether that be that 90s Believe in Love After Love, Life After Love
Believe.
one, where that
it's
was
just called Believe, and it smashed everything, and everybody, like, that brought her into a whole brand new audience of the youth of the day, I think. And she was played a lot in kind of, it is where we all kind of became aware of, like, I knew who she was because I have older parents who had records, and we had tons of records at home, but like, she was always this, 60s girl with the hippie, hair and that kind of
it's
thing.
a far cry from the Shoop Shoop song, isn't it? So
yeah. And then she comes out with Believe, and she's wearing like glitter, and that's about it, wasn't it? She had these really cool like meshy outfits on that just had flowers and glitter on them and stuff. She looked really cool. And that song was on the top of the charts for like 12 weeks or something ridiculous like that in 1998, 9.
And it also, if I remember correctly, so when was it? Was it early 90s? I feel like it was like 94, 95.
What, Believe?
I could be wrong. Or it could be later than that, because it used that weird vocoder auto-tune.
It was 1998. It was October
98,
98 it was released. And it was, how long was it, the top 4?
Get the facts.
Anyway, as I said, if this is the UK or the US or anything. So it was number 1 for ages. And it was something that, everyone played it all the time. You could hear it everywhere. And it's really, whenever it comes on now, and if you hear the first like pew of the intro, everyone's like, yeah, get the dance floor. So that's quite cool. It's become like a banger nowadays. That's pretty good.
So that song, it brought together 3 really amazing things. It brought together a vintage heritage artist with a cutting edge new technology, because she was using that vocoder thing on the voice. And it was about something that everybody could relate to. Do you believe in life after love? And everybody had probably felt something like that, or they could imagine, or they'd seen it in a movie. So yeah, it was a really interesting and evocative song, and again another classic that stood the test of time. Has it ever stopped being played since 1998? No.
No.
And I think that was quite an important era for you as well, because I know that your sort of 96 to 98 window is quite a special one for you.
Only because it's my initial teenage coming of age kind of, well, not even teenage, just pre-teen kind of, discovering music and what it means, and discovering my own music that wasn't my parents' music, so that was cool. I loved that time, and I just remember being really summery and hot, like maybe it was just really hot summer.
Do you remember Euro 98, or it was the World Cup 98 was happening?
The World Cup 98, Euro 96.
Yeah.
And the World Cup 98, we had to make all these little posters for it at school, and we were all put into different teams, and we all had to play. So we were all, the whole school was like grouped into different teams according to country, and you had to play football against all the other kids in school for your country that you'd been assigned. So you had to like wear the flags of the, not your country, for like the country you'd been assigned to.
You'd be allocated to like.
Yeah, I was Scotland.
At 8. Good for your Lorraine Kelly accent.
Oh no, don't make me do my Lorraine Kelly accent. I can't do it, no.
I love it.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do Lorraine Kelly, all right? That's not the right time. So lots of different collabs have been, really well received and timeless over the years, like Run DMC and Aerosmith, Walk This Way. That was a pretty big one as well. 1986, I just found out. I thought that was going to be earlier. I thought I'd have guessed at early 90s, but it's been going for a long time.
Yeah, you would have thought that was like a early 90s crossover track, like 93, 94, but 86, wow, that's pretty ahead of its time, isn't it? And again, that's one that's never stopped being played, I think, since, and was able to be played in both mainstream and rock clubs. I remember that being played a lot at Decadence Club that we went to and the Intrepid Fox when we used to hang out those places.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of like a night out in Soho, so maybe that's probably why.
Yeah.
Cool. So thanks for that question, Kim. We have another question from Claire. She says, do you change your musical style or approach to lyric writing when working with other artists? If so, why? And in what way do you alter your mindset to achieve the desired outcome when working on such projects?
So this is a great question, and I have written lyrics for other artists. Much of the time, I've just been able to stay in the same mindset because they've asked me, we like the way you write lyrics and choruses, so let's just do that for our song. The one that was really notable, that was different, was when I wrote the lyrics for a song called Argent for Lord of the Lost, which is on their Judas album. Now, that album is a concept album about Judas from the Bible, and about the story of his betrayal and the subsequent events that unfurled after that. Now, that was a real challenge because I didn't know very much at all about that story, having not really been brought up with much religious background. And so I had to do research about what is the story of Judas. And so having done that research and understood more about where this story took place, the environment in which it was in, the atmosphere, that gave me a really good grounding point. But I still couldn't relate to being a follower of Jesus who then betrays him for silver. It wasn't something I felt, oh yeah, that's really, I know it. I get you, mate. So instead, I had to think, what are the core emotions that are occurring to this person in the story, because it was being written from the perspective of Judas. And so I thought, well, okay, guilt, anxiety, anger, a feeling of insignificance, regret, fear, all of these things. I thought, well, I've definitely felt all of those things at some point. So let's use emotional memory to go back to those times and draw on those feelings. So then combining my own experiences of those emotions, but then putting them into the story of the song with those very strong imagery of the darkened fields and that kind of archaic landscape. And that very sort of feudal religious kind of landscape. I felt that was how I was able to write those lyrics, and it was very different from anything I'd ever done. But I'm really proud of it. And the lines are things like "Betrayal burns like the silver in my heart," which I felt was quite a good way of combining the very concrete imagery of the story with the feelings of guilt and betrayal and regret, etc.
Do we get a different side of the character we're typically shown to be Judas in this album or in this song specifically? Is he becoming more of a sympathetic character rather than someone who betrayed Jesus and sent him to his death?
Well, I guess in the original story, it's quite two-dimensional. He's a bad man. And often people would say, you Judas, because that's what you call someone who betrays you. That's just the generic term. So rather than write, here's a song about a bad man, it was, let's talk about the deeper complex and whirlwind and chaos of emotions that a character could have been going through. It's not to sympathize with the character, it's simply to try and open it up a bit more. And it's a very dark song and a very mournful and quite unnerving song. The music that they wrote for it was very unnerving. So yeah, that was a very different experience. That when being asked to write for someone else, how do you do it?
That's really interesting as well, and like having to assume the character, like I guess like how an actor would have to assume another character in order to play them. And for a Lord of the Lost song as well, what's the song called again?
It's called Argent.
Which is Latin for silver.
A-R-G-E. Correct. Very good. Which is that's very good. Well done. And so emotional memory, which is something that actors use. I think it was a Stanislavskian technique of how do you get inside a character's mind if you've never experienced the kind of extreme things that characters in drama will experience, like murder and and high emotion, like. But for many of us, most of us, those things never occur.
Yeah.
And yeah, emotional memory was a way of thinking, okay, I haven't experienced this, but I have felt the feeling. So if I can think of a time when I felt, let's say, fear, but not on the scale of perhaps what might happen in a horror movie, but I can then magnify that feeling within my performance. And often when you watch movies and you see people who are acting as if they're in mortal fear, you believe it because they are able to project a exaggerated, amplified version of something that they felt themselves, but now they're getting chased by Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, and you still believe, and it works. I got one final question for you really quickly before the end, which is from Becky and Sienna. Are there any artists in a completely different genre that you would love to collaborate with?
Yes, Nick Kershaw there. And the reason for that is Nick Kershaw came to fame as a early to mid 80s pop artist, but the way that he writes songs, his key changes, the modulations, the way that the verses move I think it's astounding, and I've never heard anything like it. So I would love to write a song with him for those movements and modulations, and then we dress it in a kind of gothy hard rock arena-y style that we do with DB, and I think that would be such a engaging for me, marriage of styles. He wrote the song The One and Only for Chesney Hawkes. So you could hear that it's got his style in the verses of these key changes and modulations. And yeah, so that would be a real dream collaboration for me, particularly because he was one of the first artists I ever listened to. I think I was maybe 4 or 5 when I was listening to Nick Kershaw first. So it really would be full circle.
So there you go. So Nick Kershaw, if you happen to be watching this.
Wouldn't it be good if we could write a song together? Wouldn't it be good is one of his songs.
Oh, I like how you put that in there. That's just class. Right. So on that note, that's all we've got time for this week. But it has been great talking to you, Ben, and hopefully Adam will be back next week without a spot. And, we've got some more questions from the Discord next week. So tune in for that, and we will see you then.
And thank you guys for such great questions. We were able to build an entire episode on your fantastic questions. Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.